Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us this evening. My name is Lauren Sangemino. I'm an Assistant Director of Admissions. I'm joined by my colleague about tonight's workshop. But first, I just to let you all know, we will be answering questions for you. So if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom and type your questions in. We'll start taking them right away. And then at the end, we will answer all of your questions. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Erica Benard, who is our lead undergraduate college advisor, as well as coordinator for National Student Exchange. Thanks for joining us, Erica.
Thanks, Lauren. Hi, everybody. I am so excited to be here tonight, and I'm excited to tell you about Stony Brook's National Student Exchange Program. All the pictures you're going to see in this presentation are actual Stony Brook students who have gone on exchange through our program, and I have a couple of really cool videos to show you. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So National Student Exchange is a program here at Stony Brook, not to be confused with study abroad. So Stony Brook offers students two study away programs. We do have study abroad, and then we also have National Student Exchange, which allows Stony Brook students to study at other universities within the United States, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the US Virgin Islands, as well as Canada. It's a great program that allows students to study in many diverse university settings, and it provides them with access to courses and programs and field experiences, as well as internship opportunities and other universities' honors programs, regardless of whether they participate in our program or not. So to kind of give you a brief introduction, I wanted to show you this short video that's actually made up of clips that students sent in from their own experiences, and I hope you enjoy it. So I hope that kind of gives you a little glimpse of all the exciting places and things you can do when you go on a national student exchange. I realize you probably can't read the names of the campuses. That's okay. The reason I show everyone this map is to give you an idea of where all the campuses are located. We have over 170 campuses for Stony Brook students to choose from that they can go spend a semester or an entire academic year at. You can see we have a lot on the mainland of the United States. We have 3 campuses in Alaska, in Anchorage, Fairbanks, and Juneau. We also have the University of Guam, located on the beautiful tropical island of Guam. We have 2 campuses in Hawaii. We have the campus of the University of Hawaii at Manoa, which is in Honolulu. And then we also have the University of Hawaii at Hilo, which is on the Big Island. We have several campuses, approximately over 13 to 15, I believe, in Puerto Rico. And then we have 2 campuses in the US Virgin Islands. We have one on the island of St. Thomas and one on the island of St. Croix. Not pictured on this map are our Canada campus partners. We have approximately 10 to 12 campuses, and I say 10 to 12 because we are looking to add more. And that number of 170 campuses continues to increase as more campuses join this great consortium so that your students can access their university campuses, their courses, and all the opportunities they have. So when students study away through National Student Exchange, there are so many benefits. The first being that Stony Brook has our Stony Brook curriculum or our general education requirements, and you can actually fulfill one of those requirements, the EXP Plus or experiential requirement, by going on a National Student Exchange. And I know that we have a mix of hopefully students and parents watching this, so I wanted to cover everything that I think would interest all of you. I mean, going on a National Student Exchange, studying away, just helps you expand your personal growth, your academic growth, your social growth. It definitely provides you a platform to build your resume and give yourself a competitive edge. It allows you to actually go live in different geographic regions throughout the US territories, or Canada. And a lot of times I hear from students and parents, you know, I'm concerned about studying away. I don't want to fall behind. I want to make sure I can make degree progress and graduate on time. The great thing about National Student Exchange is you're still taking your major courses. You're still taking your minor courses. You're still fulfilling those SBC or general education requirements while you're on exchange. You have access to all the same courses you'd have access to here at Stony Brook, just at those other campuses. So you continue to make degree progress, and it doesn't set back your graduation date at all. And what's really cool is, so you still take all those courses you need, but perhaps you might have some room in your schedule to take some fun courses that obviously are not offered here at Stony Brook. Like we've had Stony Brook students take dog mushing in Alaska, mountain climbing in Utah, survival in the wild in Montana, ice climbing, not listed on here. We've had students take scuba diving, skydiving. So obviously they don't count for credit towards their major or minor, but they do come back as elective credits. So they're still helping you graduate while taking these really cool experiential courses. Some students go on National Student Exchange because they want to go investigate graduate programs or graduate schools that they're looking at. And you know, what is a better way to find out if that school's a good fit for you than to go live there for 4 months and experience what it's like. It's also a great opportunity to network with the professors there, even in the graduate program, and get your foot in the door and make a positive look for yourself while you're visiting and studying at that university. And another reason students go on exchange is to look for future employment. So say an area or a field of interest of yours, you're more apt to get a job somewhere else in the United States or US territories, you can go and see what it's like to live there. You can go and network with those companies maybe that you're looking to get into. And I say you give yourself a competitive edge because if you think about when you go to apply for jobs or graduate schools, if you have experiences on your resume from across the United States, it's going to give you that edge on those students that only did experiences at their home campus. And so it's a really great opportunity for you to build on all those experiential things that you can put on your resume, and they're going to help you get jobs and get into graduate programs. And you know, for some of my favorite bullet points are the last 4. It just allows you to go experience life from a different perspective. It immerses you into new cultures, new foods, new traditions. And my favorite is just, it allows you to go on adventure. It gives you the opportunity to make memories and make friends while still making that degree progress, while still being able to graduate on time, and immersing you into also really great academic experiences that you won't have otherwise. And so I say it adds on to your Stony Brook experience. You're going to have a great experience here at Stony Brook, and then this adds on to it and gives it that much more. So I had mentioned earlier that this program does allow you to take advantage of all the field experiences and other experiences at your host campus or campuses, because you can study at more than one. We have had students do a semester at one campus and a semester at another. And you will have full access to everything at your host university. So you'll have access to their internships. You'll have access to their research opportunities, because perhaps you're coming to Stony Brook because we are such an amazing research university. And so imagine on your resume research experience, you know, on the mainland and on an island, or on the East Coast and on the West Coast, or, you know, in the Atlantic and the Pacific, depending on what your major is and what experiences you have. And it also gives you access to some really amazing special programs that the host campuses offer to their NSC students. I'm not going to tell you about all of them, but I'll just point out a few of my favorites. So in Alaska too does tend to be one of our most popular locations. At the Southeast campus, if any of you are interested in political science, they actually have a political science legislative internship where students get to live in downtown Juneau. They get a stipend. They work in the legislative offices 5 days a week. That's a spring semester program. We also have at the Anchorage campus a semester by the Bay program, which is similar to our semester by the sea, but it's obviously a very different experience, right? And so if you're looking to get into the field of marine biology or marine science, and you have on your resume experience in Alaska and New York, you are just setting yourself apart from the rest of those people who are applying who only have experience in one sort of environment. The University of Montana offers a really cool wilderness program. So, and if you're saying to yourself, well, we don't have a wilderness studies program here at Stony Brook, you can take art classes, biology classes, literature classes, economics classes, and same with the semester in the wild program in Idaho. You can take ecology and geology and natural history courses. So this really lends itself to all majors, all backgrounds, all interests. And then if we have any history buffs with us tonight, there's a really cool civil rights pilgrimage program that the University of Wisconsin puts on. And a lot of times when I'm presenting this, people are like, Wisconsin, I don't know if I want to go to Wisconsin for 4 months. Well, the cool thing is you're not actually in Wisconsin for the semester. You're actually on the road, traveling the path of the civil rights movement and walking through these pivotal places in history. And so you can kind of see some of the places that you would visit and immerse yourself into that. Another great opportunity that, you know, Stony Brook students have access to through National Student Exchange. So the next thing students and families are always wondering, you know, how do I know if I'm eligible? You just have to be a full-time student here at Stony Brook. You have to have at least a cumulative GPA of a 2.5. That's about a B minus average. Some schools do require a 2.75, and we do have a handful of schools that require at least a 3.0. You have to be in good academic standing, and you can't have any incomplete grades. So it's very simple to actually become eligible for this program. And a lot of students who are coming into their freshman year say, you know, well, when is a good time to go on exchange? I say really any time after your first year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, you can go any of those years. You could even spread them out. A lot of students too tend to use the sophomore year or senior year the most, just because sophomore year, they're still taking some intro courses. Senior year, maybe they have some time, but really we have students who go in every year, sophomore, junior, and senior years. So the next thing that students and families are always asking about are, you know, is it affordable? How much is it going to cost? And, you know, money really does matter, and this program is so affordable. Students will go on one of two plans, either a host plan or a home plan. The plan that you go on exchange on is going to determine whose tuition you're paying. So you're either paying, the host plan is paying the in-state tuition to wherever you go. So if you're going to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas on the host plan, you're paying as a Nevada state resident, regardless of where you are from. If you go on the home plan, you're just going to pay your normal Stony Brook tuition and fees. Regardless of what plan you go on, you're always going to pay the in-state room and meal costs of your host university. So once again, your plan's going to determine whose tuition you pay, either the in-state tuition of your host campus or your Stony Brook tuition, and then you'll always pay the in-state room and meal costs of your host campus. When it comes to financial aid, our financial aid office is still going to package and disperse your funds, so you don't have to change anything on your FAFSA. You actually still only list Stony Brook, regardless of what plan you go on, regardless of what campus you go to. Your aid will always be awarded by Stony Brook and dispersed by Stony Brook. Federal aid can be applied to both the home and the host plan. And if you are a TAP recipient or an Excelsior recipient or a recipient of a Stony Brook specific scholarship, you can still go on an exchange, keep those funds, and as long as you go on the home plan and you're paying Stony Brook tuition and fees. there is an NSE application. So if anything I'm saying is sounding exciting to you and you come to Stony Brook and you say, you know what, I really want to look into that program that I heard about during admitted students events, you simply could send me an email, stop by my office, or I'm going to show you the NSE website. So if you want to start looking at schools now, you can. That's where the application is located. It's an online application. In fact, the whole process is online. You just have to complete the application, type up a short personal statement, pay the application fee. Again, that is also online. And then something to keep in mind. So if you're coming in as a first-year student and you're saying, maybe I do want to go in my sophomore year, you would just want to know that the deadline to apply for that following year would be February 28th for priority placements, but we do place students on a rolling basis. So if you're curious as to where Stony Brook students have gone, I've been coordinating this program for 11 years. In the 11 years, these tend to be the most popular schools. We certainly have sent schools to more, or students to more schools than this, but I wanted to show you the most popular. Alaska and Hawaii are probably where I send most of our students, but you can see that our students have gone everywhere, to the Virgin Islands. We had students go to Guam, Puerto Rico, and all over the mainland of the United States. I did want to show you a short clip of one of my favorite students who has gone on exchange. He recently graduated in May, but he spent a semester in Alaska and a semester in Hawaii. And the YouTube video I'm going to pull up, I do have to fast forward because it's like 11 minutes long. I just wanted you to see him kind of speaking about what NSE meant to him. There's a couple students talking all about their experiences, but I wanted you to be able to hear from a Stony Brook student.
My name is Josh, and I'm going to answer one simple question for you today, or so I thought. The question: how did my NSE experience impact my life? I have come to a realization that students don't truly understand the scope of what NSE provides for those like myself. And I think I'm starting to understand why now. And well, it's NSE's fault. The National Student Exchange can advertise tall, snow-capped mountains in Alaska, pristine white sand beaches in Hawaii, and incredible cities like New York filled to the brim with life and opportunity. They can show you this all they want, but the truth is, only you can really understand what NSE has to offer. Only you will understand the warm feeling you'll get when you receive a letter in the mail from a friend you made on your exchange. Only you will be able to scroll through the thousands of photos on your phone and the countless memories they conjure up. And lastly, only you will have a million reasons to do it all again. In other words, NSE is more than just an exchange to a different university. It opens up your world to culture, people, and places you might not have even known existed. It is a life-changing journey that helps thousands like myself step out of their comfort zone. They say life begins at the end of your comfort zone. I say life begins at the start of your exchange. My first exchange to the University of Alaska Southeast has resulted in 14 flights, 6 countries, and 11,426 photos to, with, and of my NSE family. These are the true hidden gems of the NSE program. In short, NSE has made me redefine my concept of home, friendship, and school. It has offered a life-lasting friendships, unforgettable adventures, and more than a lifetime of memories I will never forget. The National Student Exchange Program is by far the most remarkable opportunity I have ever been given, and for that, I can't thank them enough. Most importantly, my own NSE coordinator, Erica, from Stony Brook University. Erica, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for everything you have done for me and for the thousands of students that you inspired to embark on their own exchange throughout your time at Stony Brook University. Quite simply, the National Student Exchange Program in its entirety has unequivocally changed my life. I can say with absolute confidence, it was the greatest decision I have ever made. And that is how my National Student Exchange impacted my life.
Right there.
Now you can see why he's one of my favorite students, right? But his story isn't the only story like that. All of my students that I send on exchange come back and say, this really changed my life. It changed my outlook. It changed my, career goals. I had one student who came to me as a psychology major and went to Guam for a year, which she was only supposed to go for a semester, but ended up going for a year. And when she came back, she was pre-vet because while she lived in Guam, they needed help in one of the veterinary hospitals, and she, just applied for a part-time job there and fell in love with it. And so it's these experiences that really, make a difference. And it's why I'm telling you about this great opportunity that Stony Brook offers to their students. The two NSC websites, if you do want to learn more about the program after tonight, are nsc.org and stonybrook.edu/NSC. The nsc.org website is probably the most helpful, and I just want to show you, what that website looks like. It's super easy to navigate. If you do go visit nsc.org, you can just decide to look at all the campuses, or if you click on campuses, there's first it'll give you my information. And then what it'll do is it'll let you search the campuses by your major. So if you're exploring, then I tell you to, just explore all the majors. But if you do know what you do want to major in, you can simply choose that major, click on it, hit search, and what it will do is pull up all of our campuses that do offer that major to NSC students. And you can start looking at all the campuses, deciding where do you want to study away. Just so you know, I'm going to show you one example, just so you know what to look at. So when you click on a campus, I'll go with Southern Utah University. They always give you the same information, and it's always so helpful. They'll tell you where it's located. They'll tell you interesting things about the campus and the location of the campus. They'll let you know when their term dates are, the campus diversity. They'll also tell you about their academics, so what they're known for. They'll let you know the GPA that's required to go there. If you want to know how much their in-state tuition and fees are, it'll tell you that. If you want to know how much it is to live and eat on the campus, it'll also tell you that. And so I'd encourage all of you, if you are interested in looking at NSC, the easiest way is to just use the search and see what campuses have your major and what are all your options. I'll show you one other campus, one of our most popular campuses, University of Hawaii, Manoa. It is in the beautiful city of Honolulu. They actually have some really great programs. They're known for business and oceanography and astronomy and their engineering programs. And that's actually a myth. I'm glad this came up. Sometimes students are concerned. They say, I'm an engineering major. I don't know if I'll have time to go on exchange. And I can't emphasize enough, regardless of your major, this program is a great platform for you because you'll still be able to take your engineering courses or your bio courses. If you're pre-med, you can still take your pre-med courses. And so don't let that idea of I'll fall behind if I study away stop you from studying away, because NSC is the answer. And it still allows you to make that degree progress. So now is time for questions. I'm hoping you have lots of questions because I would be happy to answer them. And actually these students in this last slide were 3 students who were best friends here at Stony Brook. They actually met their freshman year here at Stony Brook. And they came to me in their second semester of their freshman year and said, we want to go somewhere, the 3 of us together. And they spent a semester at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And had the times of their lives. I mean, look at those smiles. You can't fake those smiles. They genuinely had a great time. So now I'm ready to hopefully answer questions that you might have about the program.
Erica, thank you for that breakdown. And, as someone who went through undergrad already, I wish I did something like the National Student Exchange Program. It sounds like an incredible opportunity. And I guess, I want to lead off with a question that I have. Do students go to more than one place often, or are they just doing like a one and done kind of thing?
So I would say there's like 3 scenarios, right? So there's the students that come to me and say, I definitely want to go to 2 campuses because I want to take advantage of this. And, they'll do Hawaii and Alaska, or we've had students do like Florida and New Orleans, or the Virgin Islands in Montana. So we have those students that come to me knowing they want to do 2 campuses. Then I have the students who come to me and say, I just want to do 1 campus. And I say, okay, and I place them. And then they, mid-semester contact me and say, okay, I either want to stay here for another semester or let's start talking about where else I can go, because they just, have such a great experience. And then, yes, we do have some students who will come for one semester and say that was great, and now I'm ready to do a study abroad, right? They use it as like a stepping stone. They want to see what it's like to study away first nationally, and then they also do a study abroad and study away internationally, which I encourage. So there's a couple different, scenarios with students studying away.
Yeah, excellent point with the stepping stone to a bigger trip afterward. So speaking about the NSE programs, is there a list of campuses part of this program on the Stony Brook website? I know you covered that during the presentation, but if we can go through that again quickly.
Yeah, sure. In fact, let me go back to this. So the stonybrook.edu/NSC. So this is the Stony Brook University National Student Exchange website. This is a website that's actually going to bring you right to the nsc.org, which is the website that I showed you. So this is more information about like info sessions or current students, how to actually apply. But if you wanted to see a list of campuses, you would just go right back to this page. If you click on all campuses, this is going to bring you to the website where every single campus is listed, and you can click and choose and, do some research and investigate. But this is the best list and most up-to-date list of what students or what campuses are participating in the program.
Thank you. And my colleague Tien, who's helping out with the technical support today, is dropping a couple of links in the chat. So if you want to click on those and bookmark those for later, be great to explore on your own. Moving along, we do have a couple questions about cost in a way. You mentioned the home and I forget the term that was used with the cost.
The host pay?
Yeah, the host pay. How will you know which plan to pick?
So if you're a student who is going to be eligible and a recipient of TAP, Excelsior, or a Stony Brook specific scholarship, then you will be choosing home pay, because that's how you maintain that eligibility. So that's easy to figure out. If you're a student who does not receive TAP, Excelsior, or a Stony Brook scholarship, then it's really just looking at the cost and finding out what's more cost effective for you. So if you're an out-of-state student, then it's obviously going to be more effective to go on that host pay, so you can pay the in-state tuition and fees. If you're a New York State student, again, who doesn't pay or be eligible for TAP or Excelsior, then what you'd start doing is when you're looking at schools, I'll just use the University of Alaska Southeast as an example, you would scroll down and click on tuition and fees. And this is going to tell you how much their estimated tuition and fees are per semester. And then you can compare that to what you pay here at Stony Brook. And we would just go with whatever one is more affordable for you.
Excellent. That's pretty clear to me. And, as always, Erica, you're a resource for these students if they do come to Stony Brook, and you can help them figure this out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
In the same vein, if you're paying the host plan, and I believe the answer to this question is no. If you're paying the host plan, do you still have to pay your Stony Brook tuition?
No, you do not.
Okay. I didn't think so.
Oh gosh, that would not be fun. No, if you're going on host pay, and actually I'm glad you asked, because this will allow me to give you a little bit more detail into how it works. So when we have students who study away on either plan, it's like they never left Stony Brook. We actually enroll them in a placeholder course called National Student Exchange, and that will remain on their transcript to show that they did go on the program. That is also how, if you do go away on the host plan and you're paying the other university, how our financial aid office can still package you and disperse your money. You don't pay, if you're going on host pay, you don't pay anything to Stony Brook for that semester.
Great. So, we had discussed the academic components and, taking classes, making progress toward your degree requirements and things. Are there opportunities that are, travel related through the NSE that focus more on research, or is there always going to be that in-class component?
So if a student comes to me and says, I'm interested in doing a research experience, then I sit down with that student and go over the campuses that are more known for their research experiences. also based on what their major is. So for example, I actually had a student come to me last fall saying, I'm astronomy and physics major. I really want to do research, and the University of Hawaii Hilo campus has a great, phenomenal astronomy program where they have their own lab. And I had him reach out, I connected him to the coordinator there, who then connected the student to the faculty within their department, and he set up his own research opportunity there. So I mean, the opportunities are endless. And that's why I like to get to know the students who are interested in the program, because the more I know about them, then the better I can help them find a perfect fit for them based on what they're looking for and what they want their experience to look like.
Absolutely. And, you know, in higher education, we're always stressing the importance of fit. So that's a great point. Off the cuff, if you could give an approximate answer, how many different exchange programs are there in through NSC?
So with National Student Exchange, we have over 170 campuses that students can go on exchange, and every year, approximately 2,000 to 3,000 students in the U.S. take advantage of this opportunity.
Awesome. Are you looking at the questions? You answered another one that we had.
I don't see the questions.
Well, thank you. So another question that we have is, what are the most popular campuses that students have visited?
So the most popular campuses, and actually since I have the website up, I'll just show them to you really quick, are the two Hawaii campuses. So we have the University of Hawaii at Hinglo, beautiful campus on the Big Island. They're actually, let's see, they're known for their marine science programs. I had mentioned their physics program, their geology, and their astronomy program. We also have the University of Hawaii Manoa, which I've showed you. The Virgin Island campuses are also super popular just because they tend to be a little bit more affordable than the Hawaii campuses. So students and families that are looking for that Caribbean experience or tropical island experience, but don't necessarily have the funds to fly to Hawaii or pay that Hawaii tuition, the Virgin Islands is a great option. Their in-state tuition fees is around like $2,700, and their room and meal cost is probably around like $3,000. So those are also super popular. And then I had mentioned our Alaska campuses, both the Juneau campus and the Anchorage campus are super popular. And I think it's just because it's so different from what the students experience here on the East Coast. I mean, the mountains there, if anyone's been, I have, are like humongous. They're like nothing you've ever seen before. In Anchorage, the moose actually walk down the streets. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's such a cool experience. The people are so kind there. They're super welcoming to the NSC students. And actually, while I'm on that, so what I do, I'm the coordinator here at Stony Brook. All of our campuses have an Erica, right? Every campus has a coordinator who is going to take care of your students while they're there. They put on an orientation and a welcome for them. They make sure that they get to know the other NSC students there. They make sure that they're immersing into the culture of the campus and the culture of the community where the campus is located. And so I think families really like to know that someone is taking care of their students while they're on this exchange. And so there is always someone looking out for them at their host campus.
So, a hypothetical, let's just say, we have a student that's, enthralled in these opportunities and they're considering going to grad school at Stony Brook. Are there any programs in this capacity at the graduate school level?
So we don't currently have a program like this at the graduate school level, specifically National Student Exchange. I'm sure there are opportunities for graduate students. In fact, I know there are programs specific to the graduate students outside of National Student Exchange that would allow them to research, immerse themselves, study at another university in the United States, but also in other countries. And so I'd really encourage students that are interested in that to check out our International Study Abroad program website. And they do offer a lot of graduate programs.
Excellent. I was partly asking for myself a little again.
I get that a lot.
We have a lot of high achievers who are listening, and we're going to see this in the future. So it's good to cover. A more broad, question that we have: how is COVID affecting the NSC programs? I'm sure that's a great impact.
I'm glad that you asked because it's like on my little list of notes that I haven't been looking at. For COVID specifically affecting National Student Exchange, we were shut down for the spring 2021, the spring 2021 semester. So we did have students go out for fall 2020. And they had great experiences. A couple of them were actually in Hawaii, and I was telling Tian earlier, they were sending me pictures of the palm trees outside their windows saying, well, if we have to be quarantined or be enrolled in online classes, at least we get to be in Hawaii. I was like, yeah, you're right. So of course they did have to follow all of the state guidelines wherever they went on exchange for quarantining, mask wearing, COVID tests. So that was for the fall. For the spring, SUNY Provost did shut the program down, but we have been given the go that it is back up and running for fall 2021 as well as spring 2022. We have plenty of students. We already have 25 students placed to go out, and I'm getting applications, on a daily basis for more students to go out. So, and obviously, depending on where the students get placed, again, they will have to follow those state guidelines for COVID. And then when they return, whatever New York State guidelines are in place, they would have to follow. And we also get students who come to Stony Brook through the program. And yes, they are allowed to come and they are following the guidelines. And hopefully with vaccinations, everyone will feel more safe traveling. And it's looking very positive. We have a very optimistic outlook for the program moving forward. And just one extra thing, with COVID, any student that did have their exchange canceled for the spring 2021 semester, they were actually allowed to defer that at no extra cost with no fees to a future semester of when they wanted to do it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple more questions in the chat, and I just want to, if you have one that you're kind of sitting on and thinking about, definitely throw it out there. We have a little time left. Next question we have is, if you're majoring in something but you want to study for a completely different subject, can you proceed with that, or will this affect the major being taken at SBU in any way?
No, so let's use an example. Say you're we get this a lot. Say you're a psychology major, although you're interested in forensics. Maybe you're looking at forensics for graduate study, but we don't have a forensics program specifically here at Stony Brook. You can you can use the search engine on the NSC page for campuses that offer forensics. You can get placed there. You can have access to their forensics courses, take them. You would work with, we actually have a campus partner in our transfer services office. Her name's Tracy Iorio. She works with all the students to help them figure out what classes they're taking and what they'll come back as. So perhaps some of these courses could fulfill some of your SVC objectives or your general education requirements, which are the same thing. They could come back as elective credits as well, or perhaps they come back and count towards your major for those upper division research credits or upper division credits in specializations, right? So you are absolutely allowed to take classes outside your major or outside your area of study when you go on exchange. That's entirely up to you, and it will have no impact. Although keep in mind, if you do go away for a semester and don't take anything towards your major, you may have to take summer courses or winter courses to make up for that. But no, you can take whatever you want.
Right. Yeah. So, it's going to be a matter of the timeline, and your original graduation date, and then making sure those classes are catering towards those requirements. And I think what I'm hearing is that communication is key in the planning process.
Yes. So I spend a lot of time, working with the students, getting them placed at a great school and then helping them figure out what courses they need to take. And then once they're placed, they spend a lot of time with that coordinator, making sure that they're going to have a great experience. That coordinator is going to help them enroll in their classes, help them sign up for their housing, or if they prefer off-campus housing, help them with that, and just make sure they're having a great experience while they're at their campus.
Excellent. So in the same vein, how far in advance should a student start coordinating for the exchange?
So applications are due usually the February before the semester or year you're looking to go away. So students who are interested in going on exchange for fall 2021 or spring 2022, If they wanted to get in for priority placements, which just simply means you have a better chance of getting into your first choice schools, they had to get those in by February 28th. But like I had mentioned earlier, we do accept applications on a rolling basis. So I'm still accepting applications now and still placing students for fall 2021 and spring 2022. I always direct students to, on this website, if you click availability, it brings you to a list of all the schools. And if you see open, that means even though priority placements have passed, these schools are still accepting students, and it will tell you their deadlines. So the February deadline is for priority placements, but we always accept applications on a rolling basis. And I would say you should probably, start looking into it a year ahead of when you're looking to go, or a semester ahead of when you're looking to go.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. And so although I would think you would want to plant your feet first, as a freshman at Stony Brook, someone's asked, can you do this program as a freshman?
So exactly what you said, Chris. We want to make sure that students acclimate to Stony Brook, really feel like they connect with the Stony Brook campus and faculty and staff here and their peers before we send them on a study away program. So we traditionally have students wait until their sophomore year to go on exchange.
Right. And we have another question that asks, is this good to add to resumes? And I think this whole presentation today has kind of spoken to the benefits of the student exchange program. But what do you feel? A couple thoughts about that.
So, I mean, if you're looking to enhance your resume, studying away, whether it's nationally or internationally, is a great way to do that. And it's also a great way to build that resume based on those experiences that you're having while you're studying away. So just the fact that you study away, right, gives you one edge up. It gives you that one step up because you have something on your resume that approximately only 35% of the student population in the United States have on their resume. But then if while you're studying away, you do research, you do internships, you do these hands-on experiences, that gives you another step up, right? And so now not only did you study away, but you immersed yourself into an experiential component of that study away, giving yourself an edge up on any student who either hasn't studied away or doesn't have experience in the field you're looking to get into in a versatile way, right? So if I'm going to use marine science as an example, it's my favorite one, and business also, but with marine science, if you're a student who's studying mammals, in the Pacific and in the Atlantic, boom, and you study, say, in Hawaii, and you do our semester by the Bay or Sea program, and then you're up against another student who's only had that marine science hands-on experience on, one location. Who do you think they're going to go to? They're going to look at this student that has a more versatile background. It makes you more marketable. It makes you, they're going to crave you and want you as part of their program or part of wherever they're looking to hire because you have these great experiences. So, I always say to students, study away, but then look at the experiences you can get while you're studying away. Business majors, if you have an internship in Manhattan in LA, think what that can do for your resume, or Manhattan and Honolulu, or Manhattan and Anchorage, a city that's very different and will give you different experiences and allow you to network. So yes, I think it definitely helps your resume. I think it definitely makes you more marketable. You can tell I could probably go on and on and on about this, but I won't. So it's just a really great opportunity to give yourself an edge up.
Yeah, and when it comes to our mission at Stony Brook, one of the big points is preparing students for life after undergrad. So, you're going to have all of these personal moments where you're growing and figuring things out, but also preparing for the future in terms of your careers. I was reading on the National Student Exchange website, I forget the statistic, but there's, a lot of businesses who are missing out on opportunities because they don't have connections to the cultures or experiences. So having that local knowledge and then bringing that to the table as well, showing what you can prove is really important.
Absolutely. And the networking possibilities are endless. We had a student he was a business major who went to Cal State East Bay, which is located right outside of San Francisco. And he set himself up with an internship with a company in San Francisco. And after he graduated, they offered him a position. And so he moved there. But while he was there, you know, he networked with the people in that company, and they saw how valuable he was, and they said, you know what, we want you. So.
And that's ultimately what everybody wants to hear. So
Yep.
that's a great story. We have one more question in the Q&A folder right now. Can you live off campus, and do you have to get a meal plan if you're doing this NSE program?
So the general answer is yes, you're allowed to live off campus, and no, you don't have to get a meal plan, but it does really depend on the campus that you're going to go to. So I would say about 80% of the campuses don't have a strict live on campus meal plan policy. About 20% of them do. And usually it's for specific reasons. So for example, the University of Virgin Islands, I believe St. Croix, does require their NSC students to live on campus and have a meal plan. And that is just because there aren't many off-campus housing places available on the island. There's not a lot of public transportation on the island, or if there is, it's expensive. And they also do a lot with their students to immerse them into the culture. They invite a lot of natives from the island to come and do dinner with the students and do performances with the students and teach the students about music and food. And so that's one campus that does, but like I said, about 80% of the campuses does not require their students to live on campus or have a meal plan.
Excellent.
Yep.
So we have reached the end of our questions. Erica, I just want to thank you for joining us today and delivering all of this valuable information. And I definitely have the travel bug now. I wish I could go back in time and do this all over again.
Yeah, I have to say being the coordinator has given me the travel bug, because we do go to a conference once a year, and those conferences are planned around the campus location so that we get to see the campuses and see what the students are going to experience. And so it sent me all over the United States, and I can't stop. That student who you saw the video, Josh, who went to Alaska and Hawaii, so all of the friends he made while he was on exchange, they ended up backpacking through Europe together. They all had the travel bug, and they were like, let's just keep going. So the opportunities are endless, and you don't know, you know, how your life will change once you go on exchange, but it will definitely change for the better.
Well, if you need an assistant for a future trip, I hope you contact me. I'm available.
Good to know.
All right, to all our guests, thank you for joining us today. This will be recorded and shared on our YouTube channel, so keep an eye out for that if you want to go back through things. But ultimately, as Eric has indicated, there are great opportunities here. It's just a matter of walking through the door, doing a little planning, and making sure it aligns with your future directions. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.